Hello and welcome to The Good Life. I'm Gwen Wilson.
And I'm Pete Gatwood, and we have another great show for you this month.
Coming up on this month's show, we'll be getting into the Christmas spirit as we visit with a gentleman who puts a little extra something into his Christmas light display.
And we'll be visiting with a group of older athletes training to take part in the YMCA Seniors Carnival.
And later on, we'll sit down to chat with GP and 2006 Telstra Businesswoman of the Year, Dr. Jenny Smiley, to talk to us about a very important issue, advanced care planning.
But first, let's have a look at the big news stories for this month.
Australia's largest insurer has created controversy by calling for senior drivers in Victoria to display S plates on their vehicles. The proposal comes after a report that seniors are overrepresented in fatal crash statistics, with 50 drivers between the ages of 49 and 85 dying behind the wheel between 2013 and 2014. A spokesperson for QBE, Frank Peppard, said the S-plate system would involve gradually restricting older drivers based on their performance by using data collected from installed devices in their cars. Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews has slammed the idea, saying he does not support the plan, while Vic Roads say it has no plans to change the current system, instead encouraging family members to talk to older relatives if they have concerns about their driving. A national inquiry into workplace discrimination conducted earlier this year by the Australian Human Rights Commission has revealed that age discrimination can start from just 40 years old. Age and Disability Commissioner Susan Ryan said that discrimination towards older workers occurs because there is a widely held misconception that people won't learn new things after a certain age or fit in with a younger team. Ms Ryan visited Wollongong last month to participate in a mature workforce roundtable that brought together employers and mature age employees to discuss barriers to workforce participation by over 50s and promote the benefits of mature age employment. Ms Ryan said that with many Australians now living for 30 years after retirement, helping over 50s to continue paid work for longer benefits their physical, mental and financial health and ultimately helps the nation's economy. The federal government will introduce stronger flu vaccinations in 2016 after a record number of cases were reported this year. The new influenza vaccine will cover 4 different strains of virus instead of 3 and be available free of charge to vulnerable members of the community, including pregnant women, young children and people aged over 65. Federal Health Minister Susan Ley said there were 90,000 reported flu cases in Australia this year, 25,000 higher than the previous record. A spokesman for ACT Health said flu vaccination was the single most effective measure people could take to prevent the spread of influenza in the community. And finally in news, golfer Peter Senior has become the first player to win each of Australia's major golf tournaments since turning 50, after winning the Australian Masters last month. Senior, who won the Australian PGA at the age of 51 and the Australian Open at the age of 53, secured his 3rd gold jacket last month at the age of 56, with a composed final round at Huntingdale Golf Club. Despite earning 33 professional titles in a career dating back to 1979, the competitive fire still burns, with Senior hoping to notch up a tournament win on the US Champions Tour next year.
Thanks, Gwen. Have you done all your Christmas shopping yet?
Not a cracker, Pete, but we mostly have grandchildren and since they're getting older, they just want money. In fact, we've already given 2 of them their Christmas money for the year.
Well, if you decide to buy presents, you've still got plenty of time.
Oh, a week, no problem.
For our first feature story this month, we're off to visit Steve Sanders, who has turned his front yard into a Christmas light extravaganza. Let's take a look.
It's that time of the year when most of us get into the Christmas spirit by pulling that unwieldy tangle of lights out of the cupboard, dusting off our tree decorations and wrapping some tinsel around the windows. And then there are people like Steve Sanders who go that little bit extra. For over 20 years, Steve has been dazzling his community with an incredible light display that has over 100 different features, with everything from the laser lights to illuminated water features. Talk about getting into the Christmas spirit. I'm really curious, Steve, how do you find the time to do this?
I'm retired now, so I've got plenty of time, but I used to do it while I was working as well. And that was always before work, after work, and at weekends. It takes a lot of time. It's taken this one 3 weeks, every day for 3 weeks, from 8:30 in the morning till 6:30 at night, unless I've got something else I need to do.
So talk us through it. How did this all start?
Well, my son and his mate were only in their early teens, and they decided to put a few Christmas lights up. And they've stopped doing it now. They're both married with family, and I've kept doing it. So, yeah, the legacy lingers.
Okay. And they have family, so do the grandchildren appreciate it?
Oh, yes, yeah. They do.
Now, Steve, this is not just for pleasure. You also raise valuable funds. Where did that start?
Our neighbour next door had breast cancer, and so we decided to help out one year. We hadn't been collecting donations, and people kept asking us why weren't we collecting. So when she had this particular problem, we decided that we'd support them and dedicate that year to them, and it's just grown from there. So we've done the Garvin Institute and Children's Hospital, and this is the second year we've done Kids Wish.
That must feel quite special.
Oh, it is. It's wonderful. Particularly, we've really enjoyed Kids Wish because a lot of the kids who benefit from the funds that are raised all up throughout the community come along and make themselves known, and so we get to see the rewards of the donations that are made.
Have a guess. How many people do you think would come by?
There would be thousands in just the 1 month.
Must make you feel just that little bit different.
It's Christmas special for us.
It makes Christmas special.
Yeah, particularly when we see people that come year after year, and sometimes we don't see them from one Christmas to the next.
Yeah.
A lot of them I wouldn't know who they are, but they'll stop and talk and tell us their stories. So it's lovely.
Congratulations to you, and I look forward to talking to you at this time next year.
Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing lots of people come back.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Welcome back to The Good Life. We're joined now by GP and 2006 Telstra Businesswoman of the Year, Dr. Jenny Smiley, to talk to us about a very important issue, advanced care planning. Welcome on the program, Jenny.
Hello, Gwen. Glad to be here.
It's really good to have you.
Thank you.
Well, let's kick off with, what is an advanced care plan?
An advanced care plan is an opportunity for you to put in written form the way you would like your life to end, given that we all are going to die sooner or later, and we may not have time to make decisions. But if there is time, I think it's nice if family and loved ones have had time to communicate the manner in which they would like their final hours, days or weeks to be managed, and what is important to them, what they regard as respectful and dignified as possible a way for them to make their final journey.
And why do you think it's so important to have one?
I think it's important to begin the discussion in a time of non-crisis, before there are family gathered in hospital corridors and no one really has communicated their needs, desires and wishes clearly before. That it's easier to have the conversation with family when there's no particular issue on the horizon. It is then much less emotional and just generally an easier conversation to have, and it helps get everybody on the same page, can save a lot of arguing or controversy at crucial times, and allows family perhaps to say goodbye to loved ones in a much calmer, nicer way, knowing that the patient's wishes have been respected.
But have you got any tips for how you'd first bring it up?
I think really all of us should have an advanced care plan, and that just because you've reached a certain age doesn't mean, well, now's the time I need to have this discussion, because you could be 25 and be involved in an accident or have a sudden illness. We hear of young footballers passing away on the field. So I think that we just generally need to be brave enough, all of us, to broach the subject about, if I died, I don't want to be buried, I'd prefer to be cremated, or, you know, you don't need to necessarily bring it up in very medicalised terms at the beginning.
And what sort of things should they consider having in an advanced care plan?
I have one lady who filled one out, who went to the trouble of saying what priest she would like to come and give last rites, what friends and relatives she wanted notified first, the fact that she wanted to be buried, not cremated. So it can be as specific or as loose as you like, and it's not binding in stone, so that as you age or your condition changes, you're quite able to update that document.
Okay.
So it really,
so is it a legal document?
It is a legal document, and if medical staff go against the wishes that are put down in that advanced care directive, then potentially they can be punished by the law.
Okay. Who can help prepare one of these documents?
There are documents available on the internet, and your director has kindly put some of those links on the website for us. But you can write something simply in longhand if that's what you want. So it's really about beginning to have the discussion, and I think looking on the internet for some of the pro formas at least gives you an idea of the kind of things that you could begin to think about yourself, because most of us haven't thought about the actual mechanics of dying and what might happen to us if we reach a hospital.
No. And then where would you lodge the form?
I would suggest that you keep a copy with your own important papers. Make sure family know where your important papers are. Maybe you would put a copy with your solicitor with your will, and maybe you would give a copy to each or several crucial family members who are likely to be contactable in the event of crisis.
Right.
I did have a patient whose child was dying, and they had put in a not for resuscitation order, which was lodged at the hospital, and at a crucial time the document was misplaced in the system. So I think it's worth keeping copies yourself, so that at 11 o'clock at night they can be found if needed.
So is there anything else you wanted to let us know about this?
I think that once people look at the pro formas, they may feel that there are things they need to discuss with a medical professional, because there are technicalities that perhaps lay people may not understand, and can only be explained by people with a medical background. But that doesn't mean that that's a necessary part of the process either. So I think we need to make it as plain and simple and easy and non-emotional as we can.
Okay. So you wouldn't have to complete it all in one sitting.
No.
You could get the form either from your doctor or from the website that we'll show shortly, have a look at it, think about what you want to do yourself, refer to other professionals such as your doctor or other health professional if you've got some questions. And then I suppose if you've taken the initiative, that's one way of introducing it to the rest of the family.
Exactly, and I think it doesn't have to be something that you do on the spur of the moment. It's better if it is a process, a work in
progress.
In progress, that's exactly right.
All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show today and telling us about that. And let's hope that gets people thinking about this as an option. So thanks so much for joining us on The Good Life, Jenny. It's been a great pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now we go to our nation's capital to meet the 80-plus-year-old team from St Andrew's Village as they train and compete for golden glory at the YMCA Seniors Carnival.
When we think of sports carnivals, we tend to think of young people running around a field at school on a hot afternoon. Well, the Canberra YMCA Senior Sports Carnival may change that perception. The Senior Sports Carnival is an annual event that has been running since 2002. In 2014, the event drew 230 participants, aged between 80 to 100, to compete as teams in a range of modified sports events. For participants in the event, it's an amazing opportunity to build a sense of self-esteem, engage with the community, improve their physical skills, and enjoy the glory and bragging rights of taking home the gold. Jackie, tell us about the YMCA Senior Sports Carnival, how long it's been running and who gets involved?
Well, it's been running now for 12 years.
Yeah.
It started way back with 5 centres in and around Canberra, and it's gone from that amount to this year, which is year 12, it's gone to 16 different centres.
Who gets involved exactly in it?
Well, they like to call themselves aged care, and it's quite a big industry, so there's a broad spectrum of people, but we have people who are residents there, so they are not from the community, so they live in these centres. Some have dementia, some, as you've seen today, are wheelchair bound. We have a lady who's I believe 105, 106 this year. Yes, and some amazing athletes. Yeah,
that's fantastic. Another amazing aspect of the event is that for 8 weeks prior to the carnival, the participants are partnered with students from the University of Canberra. These students research and help train the participants to make sure they feel confident and ready to compete.
We're doing a study through the uni where we're looking at how the carnival helps, like the carnival and the training sessions helps their sense of social inclusion and things like that. So that's sort of what we've been focusing on.
So why else do you think that staying active is really important?
I think it's good for their mental health as well as their physical health. It's amazing the difference that you'll see when they walk in and they're all sort of glum and down, and then by the end of it they're just so happy to be here, and I think that's the biggest reward from it all.
Self-esteem as well, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just that social interaction as well.
Grace, do you mind if I ask you your age today?
I'm 94 years old.
94 years young.
Yes, you could say that.
What's your favourite event?
Well, you could say passing the ball, or the one where you throw the beanbag into the basket. Not either of those.
Ruth, would you mind if I ask you your age as a participant today?
92.
92, wow, that's amazing. And how many years have you been participating in the Sports Carnival?
Well, I moved here 6 years ago, so I've been coming to every sports carnival since.
Right, and you really enjoy it, obviously.
Oh, yes.
And what's your best event at the Sports Carnival?
Well, the only one I can do now is pass the ball. And as you can see, I'm bossing all around a bit because I'm the one that's been here every time.
Yes, fantastic. Yeah. And what sort of a result are you hoping for at the carnival tomorrow?
Oh, well, I really would like a gold medal this time. I've got 3 silvers, but haven't got a gold yet.
Welcome to Good Life's cooking segment for this month. Ben couldn't be with us this time, so Pete has stepped in. And so, Pete, I hear you've been really looking forward to this day.
Oh, immensely.
And are you going to cook us something that you've cooked before, or is this something new to you?
No, it's something that I have cooked before. It's a bit of a hybrid of a few meals that I've done before, but I thought it would be nice to do for a summer meal. For want of something else to call it, and it's a suggestion of a friend of mine who gave me the recipe, Dylan in Hobart. Hello, Dylan, if you want.
Hello, Dylan.
I'll call it Mediterranean prawns.
Yes.
And really, I mean, they're Australian prawns, but with a Mediterranean dipping sauce and marinade, and a fairly traditional Greek salad to go with it.
Great, great.
So very simple, very easy, very cheap, quite cheap to purchase, but nutritious at the same time.
Great. Okay. So where do you want to start?
Okay. Well, we'll start with the prawns.
What kind of prawns?
Okay. You can use probably the best type of prawn to use. I would think would be the Australian tiger prawn.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, I couldn't find any in the last couple of days in the shop. So that's just an Australian king prawn. just remove the head, slightly messy with the green prawn, and I'm going to take, for our recipe, the body of the shell and just leave the tail on. So I've already prepared about half a kilo of the king prawns. So I'm going to just leave the prawns there, Gwen. I'm going to marinate those in a moment, but I need to make the marinade now. So to do that, I'm going to use some extra virgin Australian olive oil. I'm not going with anything European, and we're going with the extra virgin stuff. That's really the only olive oil that I use. And I'm going to mix it up into this bowl. We need half a cup. Ooh.
It's a little windy today, folks.
I've already chopped up just 2 cloves of garlic, which I've already done here. A little bit of pepper and salt, and I use the salt flakes, just a pinch of salt, black pepper to taste, and just to add a bit more zing, some chili flakes. Okay, now this is going to be the marinade as well as a dipping sauce.
Okay.
So just mix all that up. Could you pass me the prawns, please? And I'll do it all in here. I might as well. So I'm going to leave a couple of tablespoons of the marinade just there for dipping later.
Right.
And I'll just mix all this in. To improve the flavour of my dipping sauce, I'm just going to add the juice of 1 lemon. That's going to add some extra zing to the dipping sauce. Okay, and look at that, straight in.
Yeah, good.
Give it a mix. So Gwen, we're going to do a fairly traditional Greek salad, but I am going to put lettuce into it. If you look up a recipe online, most Greek salads, traditional ones, won't include lettuce, but I think
it's cos, I think you've got in here, isn't it?
Lovely crisp cos lettuce leaves.
Yes.
So I think that's going to add something to our salad today.
Yeah.
So look, what have we got? We'll put in a whole green capsicum, a red onion, a couple of Lebanese cucumbers, and some...
I love the vine ripened tomatoes.
Yeah,
they just look so attractive, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have my cos lettuce in here as well, which we'll leave in the bag for the time being. Okay, and we need to add some feta. Now I'm a lover of the Danish feta. You can use the Australian feta if you want. One's really, the Danish feta is a bit more silken.
Yes.
And I just like that. I prefer that. But if you prefer the Australian feta, then use that.
There's so many out there. Greek feta, Bulgarian feta.
Exactly,
There's just so much out there.
And these are just where I bought them. They were called the Mammoth Black olives, and they've got the olive pit inside it. So, okay, well, I'm going to start cutting.
Oh, I'll stand back.
Okay, how's that looking?
Looks pretty good to me. Yep. You can actually smell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely.
All right, next is the feta. So I'm just going to keep the feta separate for a minute and just marinate it slightly. But first of all, I'll just cut it up into bite-sized pieces. Oh. Okay.
Good.
I think we might leave it at that.
Yep.
All right, now I'm just going to add just a little bit of marinade to that, just to before I put it on there, mix it in with the salad. So I'm just going to add a bit of. Do you say oregano or oregano?
Depends. Usually I say oregano.
So do I.
Yeah. But if you're with Europeans, you mix it up a bit.
So I just sprinkle a little bit of olive oil on. And some oregano, and just leave that for a minute.
Oregano.
Oregano. Or oregano if you like. So the dressing for the salad, whatever you do, make it 4 parts oil to 1 part zing. So your zing could be lemon, or it could be some sort of vinegar. I'm using white wine vinegar today. So I'll start with the oil. I'll do 2 tablespoons. As they say, a little bit of oil goes a long way. So obviously 1/4 of 2 tablespoons is 1/2 tablespoon. So I'll just add now 1/2 tablespoon of white wine vinegar.
I got a maths prize in primary school, don't you worry about that.
A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, a little bit more oregano, and I'm just going to whisk that up a little bit. That's way too big a whisk for this.
Yes.
So I'll use the spoon. And there it is.
Brilliant.
Okay, so we go back to the prawns that we marinated about 15-20 minutes ago. And I'm using metal skewers. You can use the bamboo or wooden skewers, but make sure you soak them for probably 12 hours beforehand. And I'm just going up through the prawn like that. Just above the tail. So there we have it. So that 1/2 kilo of prawns made 5 skewers, to be honest. Add that to the salad and the crusty bread. And really, that's would feed most people. Just to add a bit more zing to the recipe, I'm going to put some lemon straight onto the grill and just grill the lemon. And I think we'll leave it at that. Okay, let's go to the barbecue. Okay, so these slices of lemon are just going to go straight onto, you could do it on the hot plate, but I'm going to do it on the grill.
You never realised when you volunteered for this that you'd be cooking in such extreme conditions, did you, Pete?
No. Okay.
I organised it for you.
So we might put them on, and I'm going to put the skewers,
that way.
Yeah, that way, so they sit flat on the hot plate.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm suggesting that we only do 2 minutes for each side. The last thing you want to do is to overcook the prawns.
Pete, perhaps while they're just finishing off, did you want to put the dressing in?
Yes, I think we should do that.
Okay. Shall I do that for you?
I would love you to do that. Thanks,
Okay. And then just the feta on top. Okay, so salad looking good.
Yep, and these prawns are just about right to go.
They look pretty good from here.
And we can see that lemon has just got that lovely darkness to it now, a little bit burnt. It's really brought the juices out, and that's going to add a great zing to the prawns and the dipping sauce as well. So
okay.
Really looking forward to this. How do they look, Gwen?
They look great. So there we go. Prawns on skewers, they look gorgeous, really glossy, lovely colourful salad, dipping sauce, and one last thing, what are we doing with the lemon?
Exactly, well can I show you what I would do with that? I'm going to take...
Does it involve you eating the merchandise?
I'm going to take one of these prawns off the skewer.
Okay.
This is how I would do it.
Right.
I would dip the prawn into the dipping sauce, and at the same time, dip the lemon in. And it's almost like, remember the tequila and the salt? And the
if you can remember it, you never really did it. Wow.
Oh, that is delicious.
Oh, wow. All right, here we go. So, dip.
Bit of lemon.
Dip. I'll try not to drip over the salad.
Either one first, the prawn or the lemon. Maybe the prawn first. Did you get that lovely burst of lemon?
Yes! That's a yes, you must come and try. It really does hit you, doesn't it?
It does.
Really nice. That's our show for this month. Our thanks to St Andrew's Village, YMCA Canberra, Steve Sanders and Dr Jenny Smiley for being on the show.
We're taking a short break for Christmas, so the next episode of The Good Life will be available in the first week of February. In the meantime, don't forget to like us on Facebook and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. I'm Pete Gatwood.
And I'm Gwen Wilson. And we'll see you next time on The Good Life.